This is part 2 of the anime, The World God Only Knows. For those of you who haven't watched part 1, please check the description column. Continuing the story of Keima, who must help Elsie catch the runaway spirits from hell. The spirits are trapped in the hearts of the girls, and Keima must conquer them. The only way for the runaway spirits to get out of their souls. Keima's mother was soaking in the bath, when suddenly a creature from the underworld came and surprised her. One morning, Keima was annoyed with Elsie for preparing lunch from living monsters. Keima even said that Elsie had no talent and was called a bug demon because she couldn't do anything. Keima's words made Elsie feel sad. One of her friends suggested making cake for Keima because not a single boy could resist a girl's cake. She borrowed a cake recipe and went to the kitchen during class time. The teacher only found balloons on her chair. She began to prepare ingredients that she imported straight from hell. There were also several large eggs, one of which then hatched, in the form of a dragon that made Elsie run away in fear. When she happened to meet Keima, Elsie panicked because she was worried that her cake surprise would be caught. She left Keima with an evil laugh. Elsie continued to knead the cake in the school kitchen. Just as she was about to put the strawberries as the last piece, a mandragon appeared and devoured it. Another egg hatched as well, followed by an oven explosion that shattered the kitchen. Keima was curious because he didn't see Elsie in the classroom. When Elsie was about to bake another cake, Keima confirmed that he doesn't like sweets. That was Elsie's point of view. Now we will see Keima's point of view. For a few days his time has been wasted because he couldn't play games. Even when the teacher gave perfect exam results, it didn't make him happy because he was only focused on the game. Keima only saw Elsie, who had been replaced with a balloon. At lunchtime, Keima saw the sugar that Elsie brought from hell, a mandragon that suddenly passed in front of him, and Elsie, who was acting suspiciously. The teacher told the students to run for 20 laps. Keima, who rarely exercised, his endurance was weak. Teacher whispered to Keima to apologize for his behavior in class. But Keima instead took out his PSP, which made his stamina increase drastically. But still he fell. The teacher started to compare the game with the real life. It annoyed Keima. When Keima was being lectured by the teacher, suddenly there was an explosion sound from the kitchen. Then a mandragon and other creatures came after the teacher. After school, Keima found the cake that Elsie made lying in the yard, but he didn't care anymore. Now from Keima's mother's point of view, she received a call from the teacher who wanted to visit her house to talk about Keima. After that, she took a shower to clean herself. She was thinking what trouble Keima caused that the teacher needed to talk to her. Suddenly a mandragon appeared, startling her. Keima's mother rushed away thinking someone had peeked at her, but her attention was distracted. When she heard the flower vase fall, she thought there was a thief. Then she took the vase flower and smashed it into the man's head. It turned out that that person was Keima, who was enjoying Elsie's cake. At the same time, when Keima's mother was looking for the peeker, who was none other than a mandragon, followed by another monster created by Elsie, who went to the roof, the monster swallowed the mandragon just like that. The teacher, who happened to come, very surprised to see it. So, the cake lying on the yard was Elsie's cake that somehow got on top of the mandragon's head. The cake was thrown when the mandragon was startled by Keima's mother. The flower vase that fell was the work of the octopus monster, who knew the mandragon's appearance. As for the teacher, well, of course, he would never visit Keima's house again. Keima is annoyed with Elsie because of her actions that always cause chaos. He asks Elsie to learn about the human world. Elsie then goes to the library, but she doesn't understand the contents of the book she is reading. Elsie wants to ask the librarian, who is seriously reading, so she doesn't notice there's Elsie in front of her. When she finished reading, she looked surprised, and like a shy girl, Elsie asked her to find a book similar to the one she brought. But the girl told Elsie to come back after school. The soul sensor suddenly flashed, indicating that a runaway spirit was in the girl's soul. Keima was busy playing a game, being dragged by Elsie to immediately meet the girl. Keima actually didn't like a librarian girl because of their unattractive character. The girl then appeared carrying 458 similar books that Elsie had previously requested. Keima praised their library indexing system. but she gathered all the books according to the layout of all the books because she had read all the books there. She just didn't have the courage to say it. She was an introverted girl. She preferred to live in a castle with all her books rather than dealing with people. Elsie had complete information about the girl. The librarian's name was Shiori. She was a quiet person, so usually she would speak to herself in her mind and heart. Keima could hear what she was thinking, but only in the game. Shiori was angry to see a couple dating in the library because she thought it was a sacred place for learning. Then a friend of her came asking for her help in collecting the books to be discarded. She was so sad when she collected the books because she loved them so much. When she wanted to pick up a book, she lost her balance. Keima, who was not far away, helped her. Shiori got flustered and tried to thank him, but she couldn't say it. In the end, she forced herself to do it, but the words that came out were "Thankonomics." Because she was too nervous, she mixed the word "should be" with the book she was carrying. Keima managed to provoke Shiori's emotions, but she didn't say a word and just left him. Shiori came back again because Keima's words hurt her. That means Keima's plan had worked because it was able to make Shiori angry or at least talk to him. One word said by Shiori could be understood by Keima to better understand her thoughts. On the other hand, Shiori was still thinking about the incident she had just experienced. She could say, "stupid," but she couldn't say, "thank you." Since childhood, Shiori is a quiet child. Her mind is often blank when asked by someone, so it's no wonder that many of her friends leave her. After she finds books, her life becomes more colorful, and she doesn't have to talk like other people. She will survive in the book world as long as comfortable for her. Keima, who was watching Shiori, finally heard Shiori's heart. The following day, the library board is having a meeting. The library will get an additional media room. They all seem happy, except for Shiori, who doesn't agree. She wants to express her heart, but she can't. After the meeting, Shiori was disturbed to see Keima, who was scribbling on a book. She immediately grabbed it. Shiori could only harbor anger in her heart. It turned out that Keima was only correcting the book he was reading because there was an error. Keima said that the book was out of date, making Shiori vented her anger in a low tone then left Keima. Keima did that so he could have a conversation with Shiori. Maybe Shiori's mouth could be silent, but it was her heart that spoke. At least that Keima's thought. In other words, Shiori was a liverish girl. The following day, Keima repeated scribbling on a book and was caught by Shiori. But Shiori misunderstood because the book that Keima wrote down was his personal property. Keima started to be able to read Shiori's heart. The following day, Keima was playing a game in the library and was reprimanded by Shiori in a quiet, loud voice. Keima said that he was comfortable in that place because it was quiet and peaceful. Shiori slowly approached and dared to talk to Keima. They got acquainted, but then Shiori left just like that. When Keima and Elsie were walking thinking about Shiori, they accidentally saw Shiori tearing a piece of paper. They tried to put the pieces of paper back together and found out that it was a book disposal notice prepared for the new media room. Shiori collects all the books that will be disposal into her desk. Shiori's friends couldn't enter the library because the door was locked. Apparently it was Shiori's doing to protest the new media room. They kept knocking on the door, but Shiori ignored it. Keima and Elsie, who saw that, immediately flew to the roof to infiltrate inside. Shiori felt heavy drowsiness and fell asleep. She had a dream when she was a child who liked to be scolded, but she could only be silent, didn't have the courage, and started to feel comfortable in the library. A friend knocked on the window, which woke her up. She started to get scared when someone barged in through the roof. Yes, it was Keima. He supported Shiori's actions. It made her happy. She brought Keima to her base and sat alone. Keima continued playing the game. Shiori actually wanted to talk with Keima, but she was afraid to start. She accidentally opened a conversation which made Keima stop playing the game. Suddenly the power goes out because of her friend, which makes Shiori panic. Keima reveals that he hates the real world, as well as Shiori, who wants to live alone, but Keima knows it's a lie. Shiori wants to chat with people. She's just afraid that people hate her because something she said. Keima's words slowly awakened Shiori, who was trapped in her book world and finally saw the exit. Keima then kissed Shiori's lips gently, which made the runaway spirit come out of her soul. Elsie, who was on alert, immediately rushed to catch it. After that incident, her friends managed to enter, and suddenly Shiori was able to speak fluently. She expressed her opinion that she refused to throw the books away, and wanted to hold a meeting again, and that was agreed, but for the media room, it was already decided. Her memory was hazy, so she asked a boy who was with her, but her friend said she didn't know anything. Even so, she was very happy that someone was willing to help her. Elsie fixed the roof she broke before, and Keima managed to finish the game. One morning, Elsie did her usual cleaning and served terrible food to Keima. Keima's mother, who had just woken up, was happy that Elsie was helping with her work, but it was different from Keima, who looked gloomy. He blamed Elsie because since her arrival, he didn't have enough time to play games. He has bought a lot of new dating sims, and is about to enter God of Conquest mode. Keima locks himself in the room to play games. Elsie makes a copy key to enter Keima's room. Keima's room has a lot of PS in his collection. He is even able to play all those games at the same time. That's God of Conquest mode. Elsie chose to leave because she couldn't stand to see him. Even so, she was worried about Keima's condition, but his mother let it be because it was an energy intake for him. In short, Keima had finished 5 games. His PSP fell because his fingers were tired, but he didn't just give up. Anonymous sent a message challenging him to play a dating game. Keima accepted the challenge and played the game along with other games. Due to playing the game for too long, the PS machine was too hot and exploding. Elsie tried to see the situation and watched Keima stretch before he restarted playing the game with a different style. Although he was already exhausted, Elsie had also advised him that his age should be playing outside instead of being busy in the room playing games. But Keima was very happy with his activity. As a result, he got excited again and used the God of Conquest mode once again. Keima was playing games late into the night. There was only one game left that he had not finished, but he was so exhausted that he was about to faint. Suddenly, the virtual girls he had been playing with appeared in his imagination to cheer him up. They brought Keima into the game world. Well, what do you think about the ending? Is it what you expected? Thanks for watching my recap of the anime The World God Only Knows Season 1. If you want to know the Season 2, please write in the comments column. Stay healthy and see you soon.